right, well, thanks for joining us here. We are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Jasmine, and I am the marketing director here at Software Media and Total Cloud IT. And just to tell you a little bit about us here, Software Media has been the #1 software reseller, and we're a Microsoft Gold partner, and we've been that way for about over 20 years. Total Cloud IT is one of our new services. It's a platform that helps our clients identify business outcomes by building a secure and compliant environment. So we're really excited to have that rolling out. Today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Teams. Our presenter today is going to be John No, who is our amazing technical sales engineer here and a Microsoft certified professional. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time on over to John.
All right, thank you, Jasmine. So I've got my screen shared. We'll step through a quick slideshow. We'll talk about some high-level features of Microsoft Teams. Then we'll go ahead and dive into an in-depth features showcase so that you can see how Microsoft Teams can work for you or your clients. So again, we're going to cover how Teams will enable you to have higher agility in your business, enable collaboration between your team members, between your departments, and then scale your business more effectively than traditional communication methods such as email and other internal collaboration and communication platforms. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. We'll dive into the high-level features of Microsoft Teams. So, key capabilities. Microsoft Teams, at its core, and one of its best functionalities for early adopters is Microsoft has enabled instant messaging across your organization. This is one-to-one chats where you can chat with another member of your team, another member of your business organization. There is no hierarchy. You can contact anyone in the organization that you wish to speak with and collaborate with. Then this also enables you to chat with multiple other people in an ad hoc situation. Let's say you have one or two other people from other teams you want to collaborate with. Real quick, ask a few questions. You can spin up an instant messaging group and chat with them. And then the best part about this is that you can actually, with other Microsoft enabled organizations who are also using Teams, you can add them as guests to your tenant, and we'll show you that, and collaborate between your organizations using instant messaging. Next is what we actually call Microsoft Teams, all bold-faced Teams. This is a Microsoft Office 365 group enabled team. This is where you will have a perpetual and not ad hoc conversation threads. It acts as a mailing list, so you can treat it as a distribution list, and it is a place for you to store files, collaborate, co-author, and work together in a cohesive place that segments your business into different groups that make sense for you. It is a meeting platform where you can go ahead and use calendars to have on-site or off-site with other organizations that use Microsoft Teams, or not. They don't have to use Microsoft Teams. They can join as guests. It is a video, audio, and you can use conferencing bridges for people who must join by phone. It's also a soft phone platform for those of you who use VoIP or are small enough where you can use a very flexible, very lightweight soft phone system where you can dial directly out of Teams and use your contact book that you're familiar with in Outlook and etc. And then there are the options to use certified hard phones on your desks and conference phones as well in your conference rooms. You can extend the capability of Microsoft Teams with applications. There's a massive app marketplace from all vendors to extend the capability of your Teams. And then it is a Power Platform native resource. So if you build Power Apps or use Power Automation, you can integrate Teams with it and build out a flow that will maybe put a Teams chat message into a particular team as an outcome to a flow. That said, let's dive into the actual demo for our team. So here I've got a demo tenant set up with a Microsoft Teams instance. We'll go ahead and show you the one-on-one chat. Here I've got another demo user named Megan Bowen, and I can go ahead and chat with her one-on-one and share files with her as well. So we can see here I've said hello earlier in the day. She's seen the message, she has responded. Hi, can you take care of this file? we'll want to make sure we collaborate with her on something from our OneDrive. Go ahead and share and send the message. And then here is the in-app editing. You do not have to leave Microsoft Teams to go ahead and edit and work on your documents with each other. You can edit in Teams at the same time. So if Megan were to open this file with me, which will give her a second to open and load the file, we will see soon enough her cursor will show up and start co-editing alongside us. So here on our screen, we see Megan Bowen has also joined us on this document, and we can start collaborating and co-editing this document. And once we have both exited the document, it saves into my OneDrive, and that the latest version will live there. And here is a one-to-many chat. Same concept. You can add multiple people, which you do up here by going to the square with a pencil and just start typing someone's name. For example, if I wanted to meet with Megan and Adele, we'll just say hi, and it creates the group and sends the message. And that's, in a nutshell, the collaboration with instant messaging. And then you can also have your favorite contacts and Outlook contacts here, or you can create groups of contacts to contact all at once. Next, we'll dive into the meat and potatoes of Microsoft Teams, the actual teams. And again, as I mentioned earlier, these are Microsoft Teams that are enabled with an Office 365 group on the back end. We'll walk through the process of creating a team so you can see how easy it is when you need to spin something up. Let's say we've got a new marketing team. So we'll go ahead and build the team from scratch. It is a private team just for that department. We'll call it marketing. This is the team for marketing collaboration. And then once that has been created, we can go ahead and let's go add Megan. And let's do add Adele. Add them. And then you have the option of creating those members as members or owners. Owners can add other members to the team and manage things such as the team name, adding channels, etc. So we'll go ahead and add Megan as an owner and Adele as a member. Here we have the marketing team has been created with a channel named General. Every team that you create gets a general channel. And then if you want to add perhaps a channel for a specific task in marketing or a specific project within marketing, go ahead and click on the three dots next to Teams. We'll just add a channel. For example, let's do social media as something that marketing does. And you have the option of creating a team as a standard team or a private team. So only a specific subset of people within marketing will be able to access it. So let's go ahead and test out the private team functionality. Hit next. And then this is going to be a collaboration team between Megan and I. There we go. Channel has been created. You can see the lock on there signifying that it is a private channel. And then we can see when we open the people pane, who are the members, myself, the administrator of this tenant, and Megan Bowen. So here, instead of us directly sharing out of my OneDrive, we can go to the Files tab of this channel. Give it a moment to load. It is the first time we've created it. Then I can upload instead. We'll go ahead and go back to my OneDrive real quick and then save a copy of that file. That way we can go back to our team, social media, and we'll upload that here. Now, instead of this file living in my OneDrive, it is now living within the file repository of the social media channel of the marketing team. So what that means is, because we've locked this down to just Megan and I, only Megan and I can collaborate on that file. From here, clicking the wrong thing, we'll want to go to Browse Teams and Channels. Then we'll share the link, and then we'll say @Megan. Please take care of this file. And now you can see employee engagement plan lives under marketing / social media. If we go back to the chat we had with Megan earlier, we can see that that file lives under personal and admin under this tenant. And this is where you really start to leverage the power of of SharePoint. Speak about my company too much. Of SharePoint and Teams to be able to build a central file repository around your business functions, around your departments, and around your teams internally and projects, etc. Here you can see that once we've typed this message, Megan is going to reply to that actual message. If she were to use the box at the bottom here where I've got my cursor blinking, it would create a new conversation. What you want to do is, if you intend to reply to a specific conversation, you want to hit the reply on that. So Megan will go ahead and reply, I have taken care of it. And any changes that she has made to that file will live within the file under social media's SharePoint folder. So okay, so we've gone over creating a team, creating a channel, and managing the members of those channels, and a private channel as well. We'll quickly go over managing the team. So here we can go back to, you click the 3 dots next to a team you want to manage, hit the gear, manage team, and you can see Megan and I are the owners, and you can see that Adele is a member. If it is a team that is private, people may request to join that team if you have private team browsing enabled. And then you can manage the channels there, add a channel, and remove channels as well. And then you can set up per team settings if you want to make sure people can't mention an entire team, or if you have guests in your tenant, which we'll go over shortly, you can grant them certain permissions in your teams. And then if you have any apps, which we'll also go over in a moment, you can see here what apps you have associated with this team, and we'll be able to remove those associations. So let's go back to general real quick, and files. And you can see here that posts, files, wiki, etc. are all tabs of a channel. And you can hit the plus to add additional functionality to the tab. But if we were to discuss the capability of using teams as a segmentation method for your files and etc., if we popped into retail here, general, we looked at files, we see here all these files have to do with the retail team. So anyone who's not a member of retail does not see any of this information. So instead of setting up a file share and building out a folder structure and applying permissions at those individual folders to groups of people in your traditional Active Directory file share scheme, you would instead create Office 365 teams, and which are backed by Office 365 groups and SharePoint, where you can manage the membership of that team and the membership of the private channels underneath that team to segment the data out. And of course, Teams is protected by Microsoft's ATP features. So any of the data in here, you can protect with data loss prevention. For example, you can set a policy in place that will not allow files to traverse this team and potentially be uploaded to another's. But if we look closely up here, we can see there's an open in SharePoint link. This will take us to the actual SharePoint site that's on the back end of this team and where the files are stored. And we see this sync button that's very important for end users. When we hit sync, what that enables us to do is to actually sync those files to our Windows Explorer. So I'll go ahead and sign into OneDrive as my demo tenant here. We'll go next. And then I've already done this sync, so we'll just go ahead and use the folder, but usually we'll just hit next, 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 and later. We don't need the mobile app right now. If we hit open my OneDrive folder, you can see here the demo tenant is named Contoso, Microsoft's famous demo company. You can see I can see Retail General. All the files that are in the team I'm a member of are now in my Windows Explorer. So you do not have to use Teams, although you can. If you were to hit any of these files, you can go ahead and open it up and edit it within Teams itself and collaborate, and it'll automatically save. Or seeing now that I have the files here on my desktop, I can open it in a traditional Word instance. And then autosave is on. It's saying I have to sign in because I'm signed in with my Software Media right now. I'm not signed in with the demo account. And then autosave is on. If we make any changes, if I were to sign in here as the correct tenant, it would automatically save any changes I make. If I were to add a new header, it would save that, and then I'd see that reflected over on the team side. Okay, we'll go ahead and close. And then you are not limited to SharePoint. You can add other sources of cloud storage to your teams as well. So if you're already using other storage methods, you do not have to completely cut over. You can add them in place while you plan your migration to SharePoint and Office 365 groups. So we've gone over creating a team, creating channels, managing those channels and teams, how conversations work, and then Office 365 file management within a team. Next, we'll talk about what has happened once we've created the marketing team here. So if I were to pop over to the admin panel of this tenant, we would go to groups. We can see here there's all the Office 365 groups in this tenant, and here's marketing, the one that I had just created. It is a private team created on 2/18/11/13 p.m. We open this, we can see that there is a email address associated with this team. So this now can act as a distribution group for all the members of this team. And to ensure that it has the behavior, we can send copies of the conversation sent to that group into the group members' inboxes. And then we can also allow external senders to email the group. So you can set up a team that acts as an external distribution list. For example, if you want someone to contact support, it can be a team with support at your domain. And then enabling this functionality allows external people to email that support group, which will allow all those people, all the members of that team, to receive that as well. Okay. So we'll go real quick through the extensibility of teams. So as I was showing earlier, we can add additional tabs. For example, here, we'll go ahead and let this load. Here's a SharePoint site that has been added as a tab. And then here is another SharePoint site that has been added as another file source to this team. So you're not limited to just posts and files in Wiki. You can add as many sources and resources to the team as you want. But when we click the plus here, you can see that there's an entire marketplace of extensions that you can add. For example, if your team currently uses Trello for your Kanban and your project management and tracking, you can add Trello as an extension. If you have developers, you can add Azure DevOps. And here you can see once we've added Azure DevOps, what to do, how you can use it. You can use it in tabs. Messages can be in. You can use the content from Azure DevOps and inject it directly into your messages, so you can discuss in your conversation threads. And then the notifications out of Azure DevOps can post content into a channel of your team So if you have a new build, if you have a new task or user story created in Azure DevOps, it can go ahead and create notifications in a channel on your team so that your members are notified and know to react. Again, you can see you can add OneNote, Azure Pipeline, etc. GitHub for your developers. And then real quickly at a very high level, I want to show you guys if any of you take advantage of the Power Platform. Go ahead and use, we'll create a real quick Power Automate flow. Oops. A lot of new content in this tenant. We'll work through all this real quick. But here, if you have a new task created in Planner, you can post a message to Teams. So Teams is automatically connected, or automatically an endpoint that is connected to your Power Automate platform. So we'll go ahead and allow that to connect and pop back to the team real quick while that's all connecting. Marketing, go ahead and create a new planner. And we'll name it Marketing Plan. Oh, very creative. Save. All right, so we've got a marketing planner within the marketing team. Let's hop back to Automate. It should have connected by now. So now we can say if a new task is created in the marketing plan, let's go ahead and post a message within marketing. We'll let it load and select the channel general. And then what it'll do is it'll post a message that says new task name. The value of the name will be obviously the title of the task, the due date, and it grabs all of these dynamically out of the task. So we'll hit save. And then you can test your flow here. You can make sure there's no errors. And now, whenever you've created a new task in here, it should go ahead and make a post. And that's how you can use it to integrate with Power Automate if you're already using that. So before we move on to any questions, I want to discuss the caveats and gotchas that we've got when considering implementing Teams if you've never used it before, or if you're going to be helping someone implement it and they've already been using it, what some of the things are that you may experience that you need to consider when designing a team, designing a team around an entire business, and how to use it effectively without it being a hindrance of your business than something that helps you scale and grow and collaborate effectively. So one of those things is the importance of prescribing a structure at the very beginning. For example, when you're a brand new company, you've never used Microsoft Teams before, and you start just license it to everyone and give everyone access. And people just go and see, well, they've got their one-on-one chats, they can start talking to each other, and then they see this Teams. Oftentimes, people will create a team because it's unlimited. Anyone with a license can create a team. They'll go ahead and start building a team, they'll make it public, and maybe someone from marketing doesn't realize there's already a marketing team, but they're going to call it digital media. They're going to create the team digital media. What this does is it creates an entirely new Office 365 group. And let's just say this was Adele and someone else, Miriam. Go ahead and add these. Hit close. Now you've got an entirely new domain of data and security that you did not know about. This digital media really should be another channel under marketing, but it has been created as another team. And if we were to pop into our admin center here, we can see digital media should show up here soon. It may take a bit to refresh. in the sake of time, we'll just assume that it has refreshed and it shows up. What will happen is that you'll get bloat in this pane here. Right now, this is very well secured, very well designed. There's an all company team for the entire company to collaborate. There's a all employees distribution list that's a granted. And then there are teams built around very specific functions and teams within the business. But let's say that multiple people over the course of many weeks start creating new teams because they don't understand how that impacts the business, how it creates new domains of data to worry about. You will get sprawl. You won't know where messages, where to have conversations around specific tasks. If you have someone that's created the digital media team and you had no idea that that existed, and you also created a channel digital media, you start to get a sprawl of, well, let's say Miriam is also added as a member of marketing, but she has a team digital media and a channel digital media. It may be the case that she posts all of her content for digital media in this team and not in this channel. And so you get this gap in your organization where Miriam may be talking to someone else, Megan, for example, in the organization. Hey, I posted something in digital media. Like, let's take a look at it and let's collaborate and make sure we're on the same page. Well, Megan can't see any of that content if she's not a member of this team. So having a very clear implementation plan from the get-go to enable you to say, okay, these are the teams which will exist. These are the channels which will exist. If there's any private channels, what are their membership? What are they used for, etc. So that you have a very clean, very easy to use structure across your entire organization to really collaborate effectively and avoid running into a case of having your conversations, your files, and etc. sprawled all across your Office 365 tenant. Because it is work to go ahead and change that and remove. If we delete the team, often cases you have to consider all the other impact. Have they given away the email address of that team as a contact email for someone else, for example? If there's processes built around disparate teams, it becomes a very unwieldy mess to untangle. So very, very important that you go ahead and take the time to consider how all of this integrates based on what I've discussed with you today, what happens when you create a team, what it looks like, the SharePoint site, the Office 365 groups, and all of the functionality that's tied in that. How all of that correlates to what you need as a business to make sure that you design your team's infrastructure effectively. And then it is possible to lock down the creation rights of teams. However, it locks down the creation rights of Office 365 groups as well. And very often that aligns with the mission of the company. You want to make sure that an Office 365 group is a very powerful object. You want to make sure that not anyone in the organization can just create them, because Teams is not the only functionality that will do that. If you use anything else like Planner and you create a new planner from outside the Teams interface, it won't be associated with the team, and it'll create a new Office 365 group for that. So very important that you go ahead and lock that down, and we have resources. So if you need those resources, if you're curious on how to do that, we can send you those resources and make sure you are all on the same page. And then Teams is managed by a policy basis. So here what I'm presenting is the Teams Admin Center. You can see here, we can manage the teams, see what teams have been created. As global admin, you can hop into the Teams Admin Center. If you're not an owner of any of the teams in your organization, you will see them all here. You will see the number of channels, how many members are on there, and what it has been configured at. And if it has a description, hopefully that will tell you why it was created. And then there's policies here. These are very simple policies. This is not where you would disable the creation of Office 365 groups. That is completely separate. We'll go ahead and send you that resource if you need it later. But if you want to enable people to discover a private team, for example, if you create a team as a private marketing team, you don't want anyone to just be able to say, hey, that sounds cool, I want to be part of that team, add me. And then you get a request in the screen I was showing earlier under Manage Team. I can show it again real quick. So under pending requests, if your private teams are discoverable and people request to join, this is where they would show up so you can approve or deny. Go ahead and cancel out of that. If you are interested or do implement the soft phone or the VoIP system for Office or for Teams, you can manage your hard phones here. If they have been certified for use with Teams, you can manage them here, and you can set up a configuration profile for those teams. For example, it's very common for a company to set up a single conference hard phone in a conference table for them to use with their Teams soft phone. You can do data retention and etc. So reporting labels will say where has Teams been accessed by. Emergency addresses, if you use voice, you can add emergency addresses. This is going to be used for your E911. And then your user management, you can set up your policies around your meeting. If you have a conference bridge, you can set up live events policies. For example, the live event we're having today, there's a live event policy you can apply to those for Q&A and etc. Messaging policies, do you want to let people use memes? If you want to be a killjoy and turn off memes and stickers, or if you have a compliance, obviously, you can go ahead and turn those off. And then these are the defaults, but you can add as a copy and then go ahead and turn on and off what you need. So it's all policy based, all policy driven, and you should get familiar with this panel before you go ahead and really roll out Teams seriously. Or if you're servicing Teams as a service provider, this is where you would go to manage it. And then the limitations and considerations right now that you should have for Teams is that it's a very mature product at this point in time. However, the private channel feature, for example, is a very new feature, has been released as of Q4 2019, and you cannot add specific objects to it yet. For example, you can't attach a planner to an Office 365 private Teams channel. That will be coming soon, but it is at the discretion of Microsoft, and then once they've gotten the ability to develop that. And then other limitations is if you were to delete a channel, it does not actually get deleted because you must have that for compliance reasons. It just archives it in the background. What you should consider if you want to delete a channel and reuse that same channel name down the line, you need to go ahead and manage the channel and rename it. Make sure that, well, this is the general, you can't rename that, but you can rename any of the other ones. For digital media, for example, make sure that you rename it to something that's not going to be used again so you don't have a naming clash, because everything is enabled to, you can do data governance across all of the content within Teams. It is not the Wild West. If you set it up, you don't have to worry about it being a point where data can be shared in your organization without oversight. It is fully managed by Office 365 data governance policies. And that's it. That's really everything I've got for the demo. So what will happen is that hopefully sometime next week or later in the month, Software Media and Total Cloud IT will release a video on our experience with Microsoft Teams, how we've used it, how it's enabled our business, and the challenges we have faced, which have been the driving factors for a lot of the points had in this demo. So keep a lookout for that in your inbox. Thanks for joining us, and then I'll just go ahead and pop this slide back up. And any questions?
All right, John, so we have a question that came in. Can you talk about using Teams with external users?
Yes, so I apologize for that. We totally blew past that point in my presentation, but yes, we can. So here, if we were to go back to our Microsoft Teams, if I were to type in, oh look, it's already there. You can see my email with Royal Discount, this is another tenant that I have an account in, is available as a guest user. So we can go ahead and collaborate with the guest user and send messages. You can see here it's sent. I'm not currently signed in, so I'm not going to reply, but you can share files and chat with the user as a guest. I can quickly go through the process of adding a user as a guest. So in order to invite guests into your Teams tenant, you must go into your admin center. So go to Office 365, go to admin. Go ahead and navigate to your Azure Active Directory panel. You must add guest users from the Azure Active Directory panel for them to show up correctly. Then you do new guest user. And for example, if I were to add myself again, oops, cannot type my own name. But if I were to want to collaborate with my software media account, we'll go ahead and type in, fill in all this information. And then, for example, if I want to give them the job title of contractor, so if other individuals in my organization see how external, see this name here, they'd know that, oh, I'm a contractor for their business. Then I'd hit invite. And what that'll do is my software media email will receive an invite to join their tenant as a guest. So now that that has been done, I will see if I can go ahead and may have to go ahead and accept it first. So let me go do that real quickly. Oops. So you can see here, I can accept the invitation, which says this is the demo tenant, Contoso's demo tenant. And it just will sign me in and read my contact information. We'll go ahead and hit accept. It'll grant me access to collaborate with this external party. And then they haven't published any applications specifically for me to use, so I'm seeing that there's not any applications available and that I'm not a member of any groups I am in that demo. So go back here and we'll see if I will show up here if I were to search. It may take some time. There. So I can collaborate and have an instant message with my guest here. We'll make sure that the check mark shows up. And I can verify, yep, that's been delivered. And on the other end, in my software media tenant, I will receive that message and can respond and collaborate and work with files with them that they have shared with me. And then likewise, we can go to marketing. Let's say that for some reason I am a marketing individual. We can go to manage the members of this group or add a member, and I should be able to find that. Whoop. Because this is a demo tenant from Microsoft, there may be some limited functionality. However, typically if you go to the add members pane here and you type in the name of an external member, you can add them to a team so that they can collaborate with you. For example, this Mark 8 project, a very common example is that external users will collaborate with your organization as a team. So you'll add them as members. Because this is a demo tenant, I think that functionality may not be immediately present, but you can see here on the one-on-one side where without a team, it does work just fine. So that's how you use guests.
All right, thank you so much, John. We have one more question here. The question is, can you show calendar use with teams and channels within Teams?
Yeah, of course. And again, this is one, so there's so many features I can go over that I did kind of blow through it. So we can see here that if I click calendar on the left bar, we can see the calendar for this mod admin and all the members and all the meetings that they have been invited to. If we were to open one, we can go ahead and join the Teams meeting. Specifically with a team or with a channel in the team, if we wanted to set up a meeting for marketing in general here, we just go down to the bottom and we have the option to meet now. There should be the option to create a meeting. The demo tenant does have a few different features and capabilities, so it may not be in the team. Okay, so for most teams, you can add the look like the same calendar symbol here. It would just be on the bottom for the demo tenant. I don't believe it is there. However, if we go to calendar, and let's say we want to create a new event at noon, we'll go ahead and go marketing. Whoop, cannot spell. Marketing meeting at noon, and we can select the channel that we want to meet in. So for example, we'll go ahead and meet in the general channel of marketing. And we'll invite Megan, as she is a member of that team, and I believe I also added Adele as a member of that team. And you can see here, Adele has not been signed in before. However, Megan has, so we can see that she is free. There is a scheduling assistant, very similar to Outlook's scheduling assistant. So you can see who is free. Oh, there we go. Adele is showing up as free now. If we were trying to schedule during 11, you can see Megan is busy. Ooh. Well, accidentally scrolling back a bit here. So we'll go ahead and schedule this for noon. Back to close out of the scheduling assistant. And then if you have any rooms, you can go ahead and select a room as well. So we'll just say conference room Adams, use this channel for anyone not in the building. And then we'll go ahead and schedule. And now you can see in the general channel, we've got a meeting schedule. So clicking on that will allow you to join. And then if you have any meeting options, we can go ahead and change the meeting option. If you have the capabilities to manage the meetings for that channel, you can go ahead. So if you want to force people into a lobby, you can go ahead and say people in my organization can bypass the lobby, and then anyone else must be admitted to the meeting, for example. So that's how you use a calendar invite for a specific channel. And again, if you need any help or assistance or want to implement Microsoft Teams for yourself or for any clients, you can go ahead and reach out to us and call our sales line. We'll go ahead and get a project set up for you and work with you on that.
All right, thank you so much, John, and thank you to everyone that was able to join us today. We are going to go ahead and wrap up this Teams webinar. So hopefully you guys all have a great rest of your day.